A day different from all other days dawned on the farms and ranches of the United States late in 1954, when Social Security was extended to cover farm operators for the first time, and to cover many more hired farm workers than before. This was an important day for more than 5.5 million people who raised the food and fiber to feed and clothe the nation, who bring forth a living for themselves and their families from farm and ranch, from garden and orchard and field. For people like Jim Peterson. Jim's been farming for 30 years, going it alone most of the time. He's getting older now, and he's beginning to admit it even to himself. Jim was required to pay the Social Security self-employment tax along with his income tax beginning with 1955. What does this mean today for Jim Peterson? What about Charlie Rogers, a farm worker who follows the harvest from state to state? Just as he's starting a new job, he finds he's lost his Social Security card. Why is this so important to him? And how about Frank Johnson? He owns a large farm, employs a good many workers. Some are short-term people from nearby. But this year, he's going to need to hire some migrant workers. Frank knows pretty well what to do about his own Social Security, but how can he be sure he'll have the records he needs for his hired workers, who also are now covered by Social Security? And what can Mary Clark look forward to? Her husband was killed in a farm accident a few weeks ago. She knows that she and the children can depend on her parents if she needs help. Her mother comes over to take care of the children when Mary goes to town. Mary is determined that neither she nor the children shall be a burden on anyone. What does Social Security mean for her? We go, as anyone with questions like these should go, to the Social Security District Office for answers. There is a Social Security District Office in most cities and larger towns. In each of these offices, there is a staff ready to answer questions about Social Security. Men and women ready to help with these problems that affect all of us at some time. Representatives from these offices, like Bill Williams here, travel to smaller towns on a regular schedule to serve people who live out in the country or who cannot come to the district office. But before we follow Bill, let's see what goes on here in the office. There's Jim Peterson.
No, I won't be 65 until next October. Been telling my son I turn the farm over to him when he gets out of the Army.
You have made your reports and paid your self-employment tax.
Oh, yes, I've done that, but we farm operators haven't been under this law very long. I was wondering if I'd have enough.
Well, at your age, you only need about 1.5 years. I just wanted to make sure that you'd earned over $400 and had filed the necessary reports with your income tax.
Oh, I earn about over $400 a year, and I've been paying the income tax. I mean, the Social Security tax. What is that, 3%?
Yes, 3% on the first $4,200 of your net earnings.
Let's see. And my benefit payments will be figured from that tax?
Not exactly on the tax, but on the average monthly earnings which you have reported. For example, if you've averaged $200 a month, you'll get $78.50. When your wife is 65, the two of you together will receive $117.80. In other words, the more you make, the more you get.
And Charlie Rogers, how's he doing?
Sometimes they ask about it, sometimes they don't.
The reason for that is, if you're doing farm work and your employer thinks he won't pay you as much as $100 cash wages in a year, he doesn't need your Social Security card. When he finds that you will make $100, though, he needs to get your number right away, and you will get Social Security credit for your pay.
How about the work I did on the old card? I got it a long time ago when I worked in a war plant.
You won't lose credit for that work. With this information, we'll get you another card with the same number that was on the old one. That number is the key to your Social Security record. No matter where you work, if your employer reports your earnings to us with your name and account number, those earnings go into your record.
Guess I'll get to be quite a record. I've worked over most of the country. Vegetables, potatoes, fruit. Never stayed long in one place. Never laid by much for myself. But I guess over the years, this mounts up. What is it, 2%?
Yes, until 1960. Then it goes to 2.5%. It goes up gradually until it finally gets to 4% each for you and for your employer in 1975.
Guess I'll look out for that card from now on.
You'll get it in a few days. Remember to show it to your employer.
I'll remember. Thank you.
You're welcome, Mr. Rogers. Bye.
Bye.
Frank Johnson is losing no time.
I didn't have any trouble when I employed regular workers, but now I'm using part-time help.
I can see your problem, Mr. Johnson, and I think we can help you with it. Will each of these men be paid $100? If you know ahead of time that the man won't make as much as $100 this year, then you don't need to see his Social Security card.
But for those who will?
You should ask the man to show you his card and then copy the number directly as it appears on that card.
Well, some have their card. Others have lost them.
We can help you to obtain those if you will have your men fill out these cards indicating your name as the employer, and stamping or writing notify employer here, we can send you the numbers.
All right. By the way, this year I'm renting out 2 farms that I own. Do I have to pay Social Security on my tenants?
No, renters are considered to be self-employed, and they make out their own Social Security reports.
And Mary Clark, how is she making out?
What can I do for you?
I'd like to find out about Social Security benefits. My husband was killed in an accident on our farm last month.
How long had he been farming?
Well, ever since he got out of the Army, he'd done wonders with it, but we've been putting everything back into the farm.
The self-employed farmers became covered in 1955.
Oh, 1955.
And his military service we can give him credit for. When did he go in?
Well, he went in 1950.
And now Bill Williams reaches a little town 40 miles away from the office. He comes here each week to bring Social Security nearer to people who would find it hard to get to the district office. In this town, he uses the post office. In other communities, he may use the courthouse or any public building where space is available. The postmaster or the county agent will know when he'll be in town and where he'll have a temporary office.
I'll be with you folks in just a moment.
And the location and time will also be announced in local newspapers and on posters in the post office.
Mr. and Mrs. Allen? Would you come over here, please? Now, your nephew, Harold, told his Social Security office of the death of your son. That office got in touch with my office, and we wrote you asking you to come in here today and see me. Your nephew tells us that your son was your main support. Is that correct?
Right.
Was he married?
No.
Well, in that case, you'll be eligible for monthly benefits from his Social Security account. Now, first of all,
This goes on every day for Bill. Every day he answers the questions of people who want to know if they're covered, who want Social Security cards, who want Social Security payments, or of what Social Security of those who come to ask the questions. Bill Williams, like thousands of other Social Security representatives, knows how practical and how concrete the results will be in the lives of farm people, people such as those we have just seen. The Petersons. They'll let their son take over the farm soon. Jim will be getting Social Security payments of about $100 each month. And as soon as Mrs. Peterson is 65, there'll be a $50 check each month for her, too. Jim can worry less now and take things a little easier. Oh, he won't exactly retire. Probably never will. He can earn as much as $1,200 a year and still receive Social Security payments. Charlie Rogers, he's back on the job with his duplicate Social Security card. Now his employer has the information he needs to keep Charlie's Social Security count straight. This time, Charlie will really hang on to that little card. He knows how important it is for his future. Frank Johnson, he's found out that it isn't as complicated as he thought. Frank is a key man in his workers' Social Security. He takes the 2% tax out of the pay of each worker who will get $100 or more in cash in the year. And at the end of the year, he makes out the tax report that shows the worker's name, the amount of his wages, and that important Social Security number. Mary Clark, the future looks considerably brighter for her now. She and the children will get Social Security payments of about $150 each month till the children reach 18. Payments made possible by her husband's farm work and his military service. With that and their insurance, she and the children will make out all right now. And the Allens? A few weeks later, the postman brings them their first Social Security checks. Not a fortune, but enough to take care of their simple needs. Enough to assure their independence. And so Social Security comes into the lives of farm people. More and more people will be getting payments as time goes by. Monthly old age insurance benefits for those who are up in years, and for their dependents, and monthly survivors insurance benefits for the families of those who die. In the years ahead, this law will mean as much for the security of farm families as it already means for people in most other occupations. Something to count on when the last day's work is done. Something earned through work on the farm, in the factory, in the office, almost anywhere. Greater security for the working people of the nation, their families, and their homes.